So I asked myself, and I've had some interesting conversations with certain people. Now I've been absent for quite a little bit on YouTube because honestly I've had intentions to do videos, but then I get caught up doing other things, such as like aside from like the gardening part, I have a couple of consultations, a couple of sessions, like hypnosis, even iridology and whatnot, which I actually just got my camera. Fuck, I should have bought it over here. But I have I've been using my smartphone, but now I actually have the actual camera. I'm going to New York this weekend to pick up the laptop and basically connect everything and have it all going. But regardless of the fact, even when I say I had the intention to make a video but I didn't because I was, I got caught up doing the garden, and I've been doing other things. It's not like, can you actually say that other things outside of you ended up detouring you or deterring you from doing the things that you wanted to do? At the end of the day, I'm doing what I want to do regardless. Let's say, for example, some people say, I'm broke and I need to get out of this funk. I don't know what to do. And they're always complaining about their life. It's just an example, okay? You're doing exactly what you want to do, okay? Which is be in your comfort zone, whether it's, and it's being in your programmed self that, has you in that position to begin with. So you're always doing whatever it is that you want to do, whether you're aware of it or not. It's just like this. There's certain people, like for example, like there's bodybuilders, okay? They're doing things with intent, whether they are aware of it or not. Like when they're eating meat, when they're eating whatever it is, they're eating it, but with the intention of feeding their muscles to grow. Because I've been there. Before I eat my piece of meat, in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is going to be good fuel for the muscles. And I may be consciously or unconsciously aware, but I've been taught that way to say that that piece of meat is going to help my muscles grow. And in turn, it will help your muscles grow. Okay? Regardless of the whole shit that you hear from fruitarians and vegans and all that shit, there's always going to be a negative chemistry, okay? When it's not done in moderation, when it's done going against natural law, let's say, okay? Because at the end of the day, moderation is key, and it's not what you're doing but how you do it. But when you're doing it, it's serving its purpose, but there's always going to be a long-term effect because there's always going to be chemistry involved, okay? So life, right? I mean, I have toys, right? Toys are just there, inanimate objects, unless I pick them up and start to play with them. And when I'm playing with them, there's a story behind all of them. And I get immersed into the story to the point where I may have a favorite toy, right? And I used to play WWE with like random characters, random toys. It could be G.I. Joes or whatnot, but they were all WWE or wrestling gimmicked, all right, to some extent. And they would have feuds and stories, and sometimes I'd pick, like, everybody has a favorite wrestler, everybody has a favorite character in a movie. Then the toy, there'd be one that would be my favorite one, and I actually feel the excitement and the fucking greatness behind the actual character, right? But unless I pick it up, if not, it's just an inanimate object. Your body, okay? Think about this. You ever seen people who are brain dead or people who are handicapped? I mean, their body's just like, like they just look like a vegetable. That's why they call them a vegetable, right? An inanimate object. Now, when everything's functioning in harmony, okay, then you can say you have a vibrationally sound person to interact in society, right? So these senses that we have you so vibrationally sound and so comfortable in your life that you forget what you actually are. Okay? Because once again, I mean, you're doing whatever it is that you want to do. But you could be consciously aware of it or not. You're doing what it is that you want to do. I'm broke. I don't know why the fuck, and they're complaining all the time, right? But you're broke because that's where you want to be. You want to be comfortable. You want to be in the state of being that's familiar to you. Because you got lost in your ego, your body, right? So when I'm playing with toys, okay, I create a story behind it. There may be ups and downs, whatever it may be. I may win the title, lose the title. There's always that one favorite character that I associate myself with. And that's the one that I basically favor over all the other toys, right? That's the star. And I'm immersed in that toy. See, when you're playing in this realm, you're favoring the characters outside. And those characters are the ones that are supposed to make you look powerful. Because the only reason that the character that I favor looks cool or powerful is because of the story created around all the other ones that are there to begin with. But the main focus is the one that I'm playing with, the one that's my favorite one, right? So if I'm playing in this realm, okay, and here's the thing though, and the reason I'm getting to this is because of the fact that there's a category, there's a speaker for each category that you want to go into when you look at things like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it may be. There's a speaker for every category, and there's always going to be an audience. All right? So we start to ask ourselves, which one is the right one? Because there's a speaker for Christianity, they have a big following. There's a speaker for spirituality, they got a big following. Non-duality, they got a big following. Right? How do we know that they're not all talking the same exact thing, only saying it in different ways? Right? How do we know that even the shit that we believe in and speak of, because there's people that I speak to, right? And they're religious. And here's the thing though. I love talking to those people. But the reason why is because when I speak to them, it always turns out to be a building conversation, but in a friendly debate kind of way. Only I still have an open mind. Okay? Because here's the thing though, I sat with myself one day and I said, I could have so easily been in this individual's shoes, and in my mind I could swear I'm the one speaking the truth. But then yet I'm speaking to this individual and I swear that this individual's lost. How do I know I'm not talking a whole bunch of shit as well? Right? See, here's the thing though. I made a video on like my pumpkin vine, and somebody said I decimated my plant. You know what I'm saying? I didn't decimate my plant. You know, it appears that I decimated my plant, but you have to understand, I know what I'm doing. Like, this is all going to start to make sense after I hopefully finish this video. And when I finish this video, hopefully it'll make sense to you. But I know what I'm doing, and this is the reason why. I've made videos where I said that I am the garden, right? See, this sounds like some woo-woo ego shit where people say I'm the garden or I'm God. But do you really believe that you're God? Because it's not just, see, it's your ego saying you're God, right? See, does God die? No, God doesn't die, right? And what does the word God even mean to you, right? The word God, what does it mean? Authority, all possibilities. But God doesn't die, right? God doesn't die. So you're here as a human and you're living. Because here's the thing. When you have love, there's still hate there. Why am I bringing this up? I'm doing my garden, right? When I did the surgery on my plants, okay? I did the surgery, but I did it with a specific intent, was to have that plants thrive and survive, right? But when I did it in a way where there was only one outcome. See, there's a difference between positivity thinking and ignoring the negative. But when you're only thinking positive, but you're aware the negative is there and you're ignoring the negative is still a potential. But when I'm doing the surgery on that plant, there's only one outcome. And the reason is because when I'm doing it, it's as if I'm doing the surgery on myself. But there is only one outcome. It's like there's no other outcome. There was no, it's not gonna work or it's not gonna happen. So it works. I'm gonna have to manifest my first $1 million and just show you how the fuck this shit works. And ask yourself, how did you just feel even hearing me say that? Are you happy for me or did you feel upset for me? I'm gonna have to manifest that first $1 million and actually prove it to you. Okay? So there was no, positive thinking and I'm ignoring the negative, but I'm aware the negative is there. When I was doing it, my intention was to take those worms out. The plant will thrive and survive once those worms are out, right? And if some happen to be left over, I'm going to spot them by the condition of the plant afterwards. And I'm always going to be able to correct the issue. It's just like I don't use chemicals in my garden, yet everything is so lush, green, and beautiful, right? I don't even fertilize because I use compost. That is the natural fertilizer. Plus I have wood chips everywhere. So I already know the outcome because I already saw how it was going to be. See, the whole thing is that as a gardener, a lot of people would start to do research, right? What are the bad things that could happen if I plant grapes, right? The moment that I'm aware of the things that may happen, okay, I'm going to put a lot of energy into that information and then I'm going to do something to fight against it. But in actuality, it exists. It exists. But it only started to exist the moment I became aware of it. Now it's just weird. Like, let me give you an example. If I have pests, I can do so much research on them that I become aware of the potential threats that it has to my garden, that I'm going to have a certain level of fear against these bugs because they're going to decimate my plants. Right? But how about if I just saw it and I became aware of the shit that's happening, but I just left it alone, right? Because I know that everything balances out. And that's how it always works. Nature always balances itself out. Like, it's always going to work. Just like everything out here works, right? Everything out here works, but it's just how you do it, right? So when I did the surgery on that plant, there was no other outcome. It wasn't ignoring a negative and just focusing on the positive. There was just, we could call it non-duality. We could just call that non-duality. So when I'm speaking to somebody, okay, you see, I always say I don't debate. I've said this in videos. I don't debate. But I'm going to tell you something right now. It doesn't mean I won't debate you. It doesn't mean I won't debate you. Because you see, like Darth Vader, all right? Darth Vader told Tarkin, which is a war general, right? You see, Darth Vader wanted to keep his skills sharp. He wanted to feel challenged because he had no challenges. He destroyed all the Jedis. So he told General Tarkin that he's going into the woods and to go hunt them. Go hunt him, rather, sorry. And to get all his army and to hunt them down. And if he could kill him, to do so. But in turn, the results would be that he would kill everybody if he had the chance to. And this is what happened. They went in and they hunted him down in the woods. And one by one, they all fell. They all fell. They all fell to the mercy of Darth Vader. So that's how I look at it. I look at it like this. I like to keep my skills sharp. And sometimes I've had these little friendly debates with people. And they do this in school. You know, you could join the debate team and whatnot. But I like it because do you know the stimulation that it does? And the channels and flow that happens? And not only that, but the counterattacks in an instant that can happen. See, a lot of times, a lot of people take a little while to counterattack. But how quick can you come out with that? Like, how quick are your comebacks? You know? Based on what you know. But then the crazy thing is that sometimes shit just pops up on the fly that makes sense that you didn't even necessarily know. So I said, God damn, bro. I didn't even know that. But yet it makes sense what I just said in a comeback. But we're programmed to think that you have to have a fucking bookload of PowerPoints and all this bullshit to prove your point. Yet history has so many mysteries, right? But you're forced to buy into these mysteries. See, they tell you Jesus Christ existed, right? There's no bones. There's nothing to prove. There's dinosaur bones, but they cannot find anything on Jesus Christ, though. You know what I'm saying? But we have to buy into the story that Jesus once lived and was a man, right? See, but the whole thing about Jesus is this, because I was asked that. Do I believe in Jesus? Right? Do I believe in God? And the whole thing is that first I asked the person, what does the word God mean to you, though? What does the word God mean? What does the word Jesus mean? What does the word love and hate mean? What's the difference between the two? You know what's funny? I was watching one of Grant Cardone's videos, right? And he was saying that when he's making a proposal to somebody and somebody says they're not interested, he still looks at that as interest. Not interested is still a level of interest. It's zero, but it's still a level. But it's still a level because they're aware, right, of him now and what he's proposing. Even though they're not interested, it's still in a level. Not interest is still an interest, right? So for me to love something so much, I have to hate something else. So I forgot where the fuck I was going with that. The reason I say this is this is like a real mental fuck when you get lost in space. You become a space cadet. You get what I'm saying? But when I'm speaking to somebody, okay, this is where I was getting at. The God thing, right? Do I believe in God? Okay? I'm alive, right? And as a human, you live, but then you die. Does God die? Right? God doesn't die. And if you say that you are God, right? The moment that somebody challenges your belief, how quick are you to lash out and get all bent out of shape? So what are you really at the mercy of? What are you really at a slave to? Right? Because the thing is that somebody could challenge my beliefs and I say, well, why would I get all bent out of shape? Let's challenge each other, right? Let's see how many walls we can break, how much destruction we can make by challenging each other. How many paradigms shifts can we how many paradigms can we shift? How many worlds can we rock? The moment that you shoot something at me, I shoot something back at you, and we're just going back and forth. But there's no attachments to the information. It's just a challenge, and it's just an experience where if you win, you still lose. And if you lose, you still win. You know how easily I could have been in that person's shoes and been a Christian? Yet I'm in my shoes looking at him as if he's lost. But in his world and in his mind, I'm the one that's lost. And I need to find Jesus. So the reason I even say this is if I'm alive as a human, right? Because again, we know how to win, we know how to lose, we know how to love, we know how to hate. You know how to live, but do you know how to die? Because when you die as a human, you die. What stands the test of time here? in the physical. Things like gold, right? But if you're God, how could you say you're God? Your ego wants to say it's God. You're saying, I am unfuckwithable and all this, but have you died? But what does the word die or death mean to you though? That's the whole thing. Because people say it's transformation, people say it's a bunch of different shit, many different meanings, but we're using this English language. But that's the whole thing. Have you tasted what death is, to have a full appreciation of what even life is? Because the thing is that where there's death, there's still actually life if you look at nature. But God being all possibilities, God being authority, right? I'm playing with this toy. How much attention and energy am I putting around this character, right? Versus the amount of energy I'm putting around the characters that are outside of me. They're nothing but an illusion, right? So if I'm playing with my character, my toy, and I favor one toy over the other, the only reason that that toy looks good is because of the story around the other characters as well. That toy cannot shine if it's by itself there, right? But it's the preferred one in my mind. So if I'm here in this realm and I'm playing with myself, right? Because playing with yourself can mean many other things too. See, when you're playing with yourself, you could be jacking off and playing with yourself. Do you know how much energy is projected from your eyes towards something that you may think is free, like porn and shit? But here's the whole thing though. I'm gonna make another video on this because it's actually pretty important. When you look at shit, okay, you're feeding different things, okay? If I'm looking at porn, I'm feeding my lower animalistic natures. That's why my dick gets hard. If I'm looking at food, I'm already eating with my eyes. My mouth starts to water, which is my vagina. And my stomach starts to rumble. If I'm looking at something that may give me an idea, I'm feeding my intellect. That's why bodybuilders, like I said before, it's like they whether they're aware of it or not, they eat meat or they'll eat whatever it is, and they're gonna grow. Because before they eat it, in their mind, whether they're aware of it or not, they're feeding their muscles. But that's the whole thing though. That fitness industry is very physical. So you will be very human. Okay? And that's the whole thing. Like, where's the balance? When we hear mind, body, spirit, the mind is the body, right? So you see how you got the word space-time continuum, but it used to be space-time. Now it's space-time together. Mind, body, spirit. It's mind, body, spirit. But you're feeding the mind, body, but you don't feed the spirit. When I breathe, right? What am I breathing? I gotta make another video because it's gonna cut off. I don't know, this fucking camera only goes to 23 fucking minutes, but we'll talk soon. Like if you like this video.